how's your team looking? Have you got any sort of fresh players coming back for the weekend, or
no, nothing really concerning the weekend from short term, if you like, from previous games. Ryan Yates is close to returning to full training, so that should be early next week, hopefully. We've had some positive news with Musa Naikate, who's been out for a long while, pretty long term really. He's back on the grass training with us, but he's non-contact, so he's not in full training, if you like, but he's at the final stage of his rehab where he can do some parts of training with the group. So that's been brilliant because he's been out a long while, and it's great to have him. It's great for him to be back amongst the boys and training, but he's nowhere near. Say nowhere near. He's a lot closer to what he once was, but he's not close to featuring in games. But he's getting to the final stages, so that's been positive this week. And the rest is as we was, sort of lads who are injured, recovering, rehabbing as normal. There's a few niggles that we're managing, but every group will be the same, every team will be the same, and we're cracking on with our work.
You're playing a team in Fulham who are enjoying life in the top half of the table. Given your recent form, you're 5 points off 10th now. Can you start to think about maybe challenging in the top half?
Well, one game at a time. I think you're right what you say about Fulham. I think they've been excellent this season, and credit to them for that and the points that they have in the league position. They've really seemed to carry on with the momentum that they had last year in the Championship, and got promoted. It's not easy to get promoted, but it was a fairly comfortable thing, it seemed, for them. And they've continued with that, and I think recruited really well in terms of the players that they've brought in have really added value in the right positions that they obviously wanted to strengthen in, and you can see that. So you can see that they're a team with good cohesion that have played a similar way now for a good while, and that can have its benefits. So it's a game that it's a game that's going to be a tough one, particularly away from home. But as you said, we're doing all right ourselves, and we're sort of growing our own way, and we're looking forward to the challenge of going to Fulham and seeing how we do, because it is a tough game, but it's one that we've got to go there with belief that we can do well, and if we have that, then we give ourselves a chance of doing well. So it's a game that we're going to be ready for sure.
There was a lot of talk at the start of the season with all the players arriving in the summer, and players that had already been here having their first season in the Premier League as well. One of them was Brennan Johnson. How pleased have you been with the way he's stepped up and his form recently?
Yeah. Well, when I think about that, I think of it in two ways. I think that there's no doubt that he's done well, transitioning from still being a young player, transitioning from Championship to Premier League. And if you think the last season was on his first real year in the Championship, he was League One. He had a brilliant loan at Lincoln before I was here, but you could see that he was doing well. So he's been a sort of on an upward journey for a few years now in terms of the level that he's played at. And there's no doubt that he's transitioning well to Premier League, and he is still going through that process. And there's no doubt that he's had some really good moments of late and had a real big impact in our performances and the not just with his goals, but also with his performances and how he's growing as a player. I mean, you look at last week, obviously he scores a great goal, and it was a game that we didn't play that well in, but yet he showed a real maturity to his game and what he had to do on that day to get the right result. And there's things like that please me as much as the obvious things that you see in Brennan, and that's where we're at with him. So my feeling is that we've always been happy with Brennan because of the way he is as a guy and the way he trains and how much he cares, talent that he is as well. But we're only looking forward with him. We're only pushing him to play well on the weekend and the game after that and the game after that, because the moment that we start reflecting and start talking about how good, bad or indifferent he may be doing, for me is the wrong thing. He's got to be looking forward. He's got to be looking how he improves. He's got to be looking how he can continue to have an impact, a bigger impact, and that's the challenge that he and we face. But we do love Brennan. I'll be honest with you. We love working with him. We love him for the guy that he is, local boy, and all that sort of stuff helps to the story, if you like. But be sure about it. He's a real determined character that wants to get the best out of himself as well. So we're enjoying pushing him.
And what kind of reaction have you had from your players, some of the young players like that? You've now got a goalkeeper who you've brought in, who we saw have a man of the match performance last weekend in Navas, who comes with all his, Champions League wins and his success. Is it important to have figures like that for the other players to look up to?
Well, first and foremost, I'm glad that he played the way he did last week, and although disappointed of the chances that we gave in the game, but sometimes, as I said straight after the game, in certain games you need your goalkeeper to be your best player or have your finest moments, and that was certainly the case last week, along with Brennan's goal. Do you want your goalkeeper to be making loads of saves every week? No, but if you do, at least we know we have goalkeepers in the building that can give performances like Kaylo did last week. With regard to the squad, I think it's great to have the balance that we have from previous question on Brennan and where he's at now about Kaylo and Serge and Willie, and now Andre's in as well. Jack's been with us, and so I think it's a real good to have the balance of the experienced boys that can really add value in what they feel and their knowledge of certain situations, but as well as having some young guys put on the stage for the first time that are just going for it, and finding their way. So we're trying to embrace it all. Kaylo has been in with us a week now, and all I've seen is a guy that's a good guy. Obviously, we know about the level of keeper that he is and the career that he's had, but dealing with him day in, day out, although still early days, hard-working, humble, really trying to understand how we do things here, recognises where the club is at, and wants to more than play his part, and that's all we can ask for.
And just quickly on, we've been speaking to Jonjo Shelvey today. He said that you're sort of following the comeback route that Newcastle have given him in terms of when he can play. Yeah. He said he is knocking on your door though. He's desperate to get out there. How
That's not
close?
Knocking there, but or maybe it is. I don't know.
But yeah, how close is he to a return?
Yeah, no, he's close. I mean, we've grateful to Newcastle for the information that they shared with us in terms of his, which is pretty normal to be fair. When a player signs, it's quite normal that you pass on some data or some information to help the player go into his new club. But it was a little bit more than that with Newcastle because of the injury and where he was at in the stages of return. So we're grateful to Newcastle for what they shared with us, and a lot of that we've carried on. Obviously, you make it your own a little bit as well with the way that you work here. And but yeah, no, he's close. We've seen him on the grass this week. That was being pleased, and already in some of the exercises that he's been with us, he showed his quality. He looked really happy to be close to training as well, and like any new player, the quicker you can get training and playing, the better chance they have of settling in and showing who they are. So obviously Jonjo's he's not new to the Premier League, and he's he's a well-known sort of player, but he'll want to get involved as quick as he can and show his quality, and we want the same. So yeah, really pleased he's here and looking forward to working with him.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Kirsty.
Cheers, Kirsty. Thank you.
Have you?
I'm all right. You?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. You're on 24 points, and congratulations for that. What for you is the bar for guaranteed safety in points terms?
I don't really want to put a number on it, so sorry for sitting on the fence. We honestly, cliche and all of that, but we're only thinking about the next game. I think that you're obviously playing for wins and you're playing for points, and that's always the number one objective to a game. But our focus has to be on how we win and how we get the points that we want. And because of where we are as a group, there's a lot of work going on in really trying to get everything to the level that we want it to be, whether it's playing style, whether it's culture, whether it's togetherness in the group. Physical levels are fine, but there's all sorts of contributors to be in the team and the group that you want to be on and off the pitch, and we still feel that we're doing a lot of work on that. So we're not looking further than the next game. We've enjoyed the wins and the draws and the points that we've picked up to now, of course, and we've really sort of thought about what it's taken to get them results. No point comes easy in this league, and no win comes easy. I think about the games that we've managed to win. You know, we've walked off the pitch having given everything. You know, and even last week against Leeds, a little sacrifice of the game that we want to look. You know, wasn't able to get there with the ball, but defensively we were excellent. So, yeah, every successful game that we've had in terms of winning or drawing, which sometimes has been a positive result, we've basically had to give everything on the pitch. So with that in mind, I don't think we should look any further than Fulham as it is now, and then the next game after that, because you have to give everything in every single day and every single moment, and we're enjoying that. We're thriving on it. We're motivated for that to be the case, and that's our way, to be honest. Yeah.
Since the first transfer window, I've asked you questions week in, week out about gelling, language barrier.
Everybody else.
The pure amount. Yeah, we all have.
Yeah.
And you've batted them all off and answered, and said that it's fine. So what's been the biggest problem for you in managing these merry men and taking them where you?
Yeah, no problem. It's not. I don't. Well, that's the first thing. Don't look at it in a negative way. So if you start using words like problems and stuff like that, then already you're on a negative mindset, and we don't want that. We want to look at solutions. We want to look at positivity. We want to look at how we can succeed, and what we have. So that's, for me, that's been the starting point. But it was last year when we came in and we were bottom of the championship. It was like, how do we get out of the relegation zone, and how do we do this? How do we do that? And so a positive spin on everything, and particularly when you go through a bad run, or you have a bad result or performance, or you're on the back end of bad luck, I think you've always got to look at the positive in things, because I just think that's how you get the best out of not just players but staff and supporters, everybody. The more sort of positive we can think about things, I think the better chance you have of succeeding. So yeah, and also we're not at the end of anything. Okay, it's, you know, we are still a new group of players. We are still fighting to compete at this level. We're still only one away game. We're still not in the league position that we want to be in. So with all of that in mind, we are looking about how we improve, not about where we are. Where there's loads of things in our makeup at the moment that has to improve and get better, and that's where the motivation is. So yeah, head down day by day, work hard. I think the other thing that's important is sticking to the plan. You know, it's for me, I'm a massive believer in really believing in who you are and what you do and the plan. Okay, you have to adapt and you have to evolve and things like that. I think it's naive not to be able to do that, but fundamentally, you've got to sort of leave work every day thinking, have we approached everything in the way that we believe? And I'm clear on that with players and staff. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, then at least you can say you did it your way, without being too stubborn. So that's, for me, that's a big contributor about being consistent, not getting too high, not getting too low. And if your work's good enough and the plan's good enough, then you will get some success. But we're yet to see where we end up yet. And but we're going to give it a good go, that's for sure.
You saw this Fulham side in the Championship.
Yeah.
Did you think they had the potential, to be eighth in the Premier League?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, I have to say, like, they were excellent last year in the Championship, and they've seemed to have a very consistent team, not just this season but last season, and being able to, I feel, get good repetition in how they play, because the group is so together, and the time they've spent over the last couple of years. So for me, I think that's really helpful. And obviously an experienced coach who's been at this level before, so will understand. And I think they've been really good for their, like I said, their league positions and league position and points return. And we know that we are facing a really tough opponent on Saturday, where we have to be at our very best. So yeah, I think they'd be more than good for where they are in the points in the league, and credit to them for that. But we have to go there believing in ourselves as well.